Nigerian Economic Summit Growth projects 3.50 GDP growth in 2024, urges government to adopt economic transformation agenda. Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative scores Nigeria high in transparency. Plus, oil prices wobble amid weak demand, steady dollar. The program is Business Express, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Abuja, your guide. Well, let's bring you up to speed with business development. The Central Bank of Nigeria says inflationary pressures are expected to decline to 21.4% in 2024, driven by inflation targeting of the Apex Bank. Yemi Kaduso, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, disclosed this during the launch of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group Macroeconomic Outlook Report for 2024, titled Economic Transformation Roadmap Medium-Term Policy Priorities, which took place in Lagos. He says the projections for the nation's economy paints an optimistic trajectory as the federal government of Nigeria anticipates real GDP growth of 3.67%, while the group is anticipating 3.5% growth for 2024. The Economic Summit Group projections for other macroeconomic indicators showed unemployment and poverty rate to reach 5% by year-end, job sector improvement to lower poverty to 41.5%. Exchange rate will see limited CBN intervention in the market as anticipated to result in a positive trajectory for the official exchange rate, reaching 900 naira to $1, while external reserves is expected to be boosted and hit $40 billion by the end of 2024 as a result of CBN's reduced intervention and high oil price. Nigeria is now more than ever pressing for membership of the world's largest economic group, G20, as well as representation of the continent in the United Nations Security Council. These were parts of the bilateral and multilateral discussions as President Bola Tinubu received U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken at the State House.
We feel it necessary and deem it fit for Nigeria to be ably represented in these decision-making bodies. By some accounts, as many as 60% of the resolutions passed by the UN Security Council in one way or the other related to Africa. So Africa needs to be represented.
Africa has shaped our past. It is shaping the present. It will shape our future. The United States is committed to strengthening genuine partnerships on the continent to work to solve shared challenges and also to deliver on the promise and the fundamental aspirations of our peoples.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu says his administration will continue to provide the needed interventions in the oil and gas industry in line with the provisions of the Petroleum Industry Act. When he received a delegation from the Chevron Corporation led by CleanF, president of Chevron International Exploration and Production at the State House. President Tinubu said Nigeria will strengthen its long-standing partnership with the multinational company in line with the evolving dynamics in the oil and gas industry. The president welcomed Chevron's commitment to build on its investment in shallow and deep water operations in Nigeria, noting the company's ongoing $1.4 billion drilling project with Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. He also commended Chevron for its dedication to reducing its carbon footprint in the country. President of Chevron International Exploration and Production, Mr. Neff, pledged that the company will continue to operate in full adherence to the highest standards, even as it meets its investment commitments in Nigeria. Nigeria has the largest economy in Africa, continues to attract the attention of domestic and international investors alike. The World Economic Forum in Davos just wrapped up and Nigeria's presence was undeniable. The Nigerian delegation led by the Vice President secured commitments from various players including Edison Alliance to Cisco and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, UNDP and World Quant University on initiatives that promised investments, technical expertise, and infrastructure support crucial for bridging Nigeria's development gaps. These partnerships, if effectively utilized, can be game changers. And so today on Business Express, the focus is on ease of doing business and investment drive under President Tinubu. Our guest is Bona Okuku, an investment promotion and economic development expert. You are welcome as usual.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, it's clear that Nigeria's presence at the World Economic Forum in Davos garnered a significant attention and secured notable commitments. What are your thoughts on these commitments, and how can Nigeria continue to build on this momentum, attract further investments and partnership in all sectors and not just the digital sector?
Okay, like the theme of the World Economic Forum for this year, rebuilding trust. Now, when you have a new government, the first thing you have to do is to go out there and tell world leaders, tell CEOs, tell the high level people out there, that there's a new sheriff in town, there's a new policy direction, there's a new government in place. So going out there, the vice president going out there representing the president was a good move, and then going with a very slim group of people to articulate the opportunities was also a very welcome idea, because most of the time when you go with a large entourage, you don't know who to talk to and who not to talk to. But when the group is slim, when you have a slim group, it gives the opportunity for you to be able to distill the seriousness of being able to attract investment, because investors, everybody should also understand that investors are very sensitive people. So grade A leaders out there need to also see the seriousness. So for me, it was a good thing to go out there to go and brand Nigeria, show that we have a new sheriff in town, and then the articulate presentation of the vice president also shows that he's been able to understand, or the government's been able to understand what the issues are, and then know exactly what to tell investors, which would boost their confidence.
Well, this is the first time we've seen us going out to invite investors to come into the country, which the vice president emphasized during his visit. He said we are seeking partnership instead of handouts and things like that. But when you look at the ease of doing business in the country, how prepared are we to accommodate all this investment? And looking at inflation, over time, it's been soaring.
Now, the key thing is for you to go out there and preach and tell people come and do business in my sphere means that you also understand that there are a few things that's expected of you as a nation. For example, I always say this: investors are attracted to a few things, and one of such things is actually resources. They are interested in resources, be it human resources, natural resources. Two, they are interested in markets. So if you have markets, if your population is able to accommodate whatever they're going to be producing, and again with the global value chain being incorporated and being preached, whatever value you're bringing is exportable, is something that people can actually buy at a very good price. Number 3, they are also looking at strategic asset acquisition, then being able to see projects like let me give an example, like Ajokuta Steel, for example. If well structured, that's a strategic asset that an investor will be interested in. But the key thing is, which is the most important, which I call the denominator, is the efficiency in your system. Now, if you don't have efficiency in your system, it erodes every other thing that you have. I always use this as an example anytime I'm giving an illustration, anytime I'm teaching or talking about investment promotion. See, a country like Singapore, they always come first or second when it comes to ease of doing business. Now, they don't have oil and gas. Now they have an investment of over $30 billion in Juron Island, just a small island with a turnover of over $90 billion. And every single thing that happens around there is all hydrocarbon based. But meanwhile, the closest hydrocarbon base close to it is actually a 630-kilometer pipeline from Indonesia. So that's to tell you that if you have efficiency in your system, if you don't have resources, people will come to you. Because Juron Island is a place where you can walk in with your money. You know you have an exit plan from the day you enter. You know that you can start up your business the same day. You know your earnings. The market is there. Everything is all structured. So if you want to have an efficient system, which is what investors are looking at, because investors they're like water, they flow to areas of least resistance. So they have a culture, they have a system, they have the way they reason. So having an understanding of an average investor gives the government what they need to do at this point, being able to expand, remove a lot of red tapes that exist when people want to do business in Nigeria, being able to do a plug and play approach when it comes to investment promotion. So I think yes, we have gone out there to speak, but there's a lot of work we need to do.
Okay, you're talking about exit strategy, looking at, you said, looking at your options if you're coming to invest. And that reminds me that Anthony Blinken mentioned that the business community in America are ready to do business, but the issue is the issue of repatriation of funds, then corruption. How do we tackle this?
Now, like I said, these are not, and again, one of the things that was discussed out there in Davos was about AI, using artificial intelligence. Yeah. What is the essence of artificial intelligence? Is bringing in an innovation that removes human interference. Now, if some of the issues that we've had as regards corruption is the fact that people have access to some of the funds. They have access to be able to mutilate numbers. They have, but by the time you use AI, it makes it a lot difficult. I say this, you don't make people do this. You don't expect people to do the right thing, which is one of the things I've noticed in Africa. Africans expect, they preach to people to do the right thing. No, developed world, they make people do the right thing. What am I trying to say? You create systems that will make it difficult for people to change, to make it difficult for people to evade taxes. You make it difficult for people to touch funds, because they say the idle mind is a devil's workshop, and I keep asking, what is the implement in that workshop? Is idle funds. When you have funds lying in and people can just take advantage of funds, lying there, see, monies are made to work until you have every single kobo that is moving within the financial system of Nigeria doing one thing or the other. The corruption will always be there. And then the second issue, which is being able to find the right transactions to go into, is something we must pay close attention to. The subnationals must come apart with the federal government on policy direction, areas of interest, the specialized area where we want to, where we want investment to go to. We can't solve all the problems at the same time, but if you focus on, certain areas, let's say agriculture, let's say solid minerals, oil and gas is already functioning, but we need to add value. We need to make sure that the efficiency also exists within that space. I think it's a work in progress, but I mean, we need to pay more attention so that, bring in more experts who understand what it means. Because I mean, whether you like it or not, there's this sort of area of cross-cultural dimension to investment promotion. There are people who, the way they see you, the way you talk to them, the way you explain your situation is different. The way they receive it is different from the way the next person will receive it. So I mean, there's a lot of work to be done, really.
Okay, let's do some assessment here. How has Nigeria, under President Tinubu, improved its business environment, and what impact have these reforms had on attracting investment to the country?
No, pretty much. See, a lot. We've not done so much, really. So let's be very frank. Or yes, we've started to, position people in right, in the place where they need to do work. Now, we've been able to send signals out there, with the kind of appointment that was done at the central bank. Now, having a coordinating minister is also is a very good, decision, because I mean, the way, if things are scattered all over the place, it makes it difficult for people to want to do business within that ecosystem. So the level of engagement that we have now, so it makes it easier for people that want to do business here to know, yes, if things can be streamlined, so which is the essence, which is the whole essence of having a coordinating minister. When this system came up, came up when, if you remember, everybody keeps saying that during Obasanjo's time we were able to attract a lot of investment. We did that because there was a policy direction, there was a leadership direction, governance system that was put in place, where we had an Okonjo-Iweala who was the coordinating minister. Because the way Nigeria is structured, if you don't have such governance system, it makes it difficult for things to work, because agriculture is working towards one direction, solid mineral is going to the other direction, oil and gas, everybody's just trying to, as if we're competing with each other. But when you have someone who coordinates the entire economy, so we know at this point it is tourism we want to drive. So please, anything that has to do with tourism, let's give it priority. Which states are very good when it comes to tourism? We'll go to Cross River. So let's focus on Cross River, let's focus on rivers, let's focus on, Arugungu, being able to, have that indexing, finding out where and where we need to plug. That's how it works. So see, countries like Botswana, I heard the president, the vice president in his presentation, appreciating countries like Botswana. And if you look at Botswana critically, what did they do? They know that they have 2.8 million cattle in Botswana. But what did they do? They used RFID chips. They used, artificial intelligence to make sure that every cow that is in Botswana, they know the name of the owner, they know where it's going to do grazing, they know at the time it's going to a veterinary doctor, they know when it goes into the butchery, and that is why they have the ability to export beef to Belgium or other parts of Europe. So what that means is that beef as we speak, we're here arguing over grazing area and non-grazing area, but a country like Botswana, beef is already contributing 2 to 3% of their GDP. That's exactly what manufacturing is contributing to the GDP of Nigeria. So it goes to show that if you pay attention to certain sectors, if you pay attention to, you work it through, you make sure you get everything that is needed, and then everybody is at par, everybody is doing what they're supposed to do, you bring in the right people, and then you make progress.
Thank you very much, Bona Kuku, investment promotion and economic development expert. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Now moving on, the Federation Account Allocation Committee says it shared a total sum of 1.127 trillion naira to the 3 tiers of government as Federation allocation for the month of December 2023 from a gross total revenue of 1.674 trillion naira. From the stated amount, the federal government received 383.87 billion naira, the states received 396.69 billion naira, and the local government councils got 288.92 billion naira, while the oil producing states received 57.91 billion naira as derivation. Chaired by the Accountant General of the Federation, Oluwatoyin Maiden, the meeting indicated that a sum of 62.254 billion naira was allocated for the cost of collection, and 484.568 billion naira was allocated for transfers, intervention and refunds. The balance in the excess crude account as at January 23rd, 2024 stands at $473,754 million. Nigeria has been commended for efforts towards the promotion of open and accountable management of oil, gas and mineral resources. This is as the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, a global transparency body, calls Nigeria high during a working visit to Nigeria.
There should be absolutely no such barriers for any of the data that the EITI is producing or that is produced in the framework of the EITI process, such as the beneficial ownership information.
There is a lot to celebrate from this report, and you can see that clearly here. Nigeria, we all have a strong foundation to build on. The way NTA has established itself as a mechanism for not just transparency, but also for accountability and for stakeholder engagement more generally.
Immediately the report came out, we have developed a comprehensive response in terms of draft action plan to address areas of gaps in the industry, which we'll be discussing with the companies, civil society, and government.
Meanwhile, the federal government is set to reconstitute the National Stakeholders Working Group for the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, NITA. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, stated this when he received international delegation from the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, a global standard for the good governance of oil, gas, and mineral resources. Kenneth Nadim reports that the SGF also reveals that efforts are on towards amending the NITA Act of 2007 to align with the Nigeria Petroleum Industry Act.
We have also found NITA reports to be very useful in the areas of revenue generation, resource mobilization, blocking leakages in the system, and a dependable data resource in the country's sustained war against corruption.
Let's take a trip to the commodities market. Well, let's head to the global stock markets where Bosede is standing by to give us an update. Well, Bosede, the Nigerian stock market happened to be making gains every day. I don't know about stocks in other climes. Maybe you should tell us about it.
All right, Musa, thank you very much. Well, China's central bank announced a deep cut to bank reserves this Wednesday in a move that it will inject about $150 billion of cash into the banking system and send a strong signal of support for a fragile economy and plunging stock markets. In Asia, Hong Kong Hang Seng Index surged about 3% at 15,899.87. The Shanghai Composite topped 1.80% at 2,820.77, while the Nikkei dipped 0.8% across 36,226.48. In Europe, the pan-European stock 600 was 0.9% higher by midday, with all sectors trading in positive territory. Germany's DAX increased by 1.18%, FTSE 0.37%, and CAC 40 of France also topped 0.85%. In U.S., stock futures tied to tech-heavy Nasdaq 100 climbed 0.67% in early trade Wednesday after Netflix reported its subscriber count reached a record in the fourth quarter. The Dow Jones Industrial Average and S&P 500 top 0.19% and 0.43%. The Nasdaq Composite also followed suit at 0.65%. Markets in Africa are also in positive territory, with South Africa's JSE Africa Top 40 leading gains at 1.54%. That's the global market review for this Wednesday. I am Boside Abel. Back to you, Musa.
Well, thank you, Boside. Well, stocks in Nigeria, it seems like the all-share index has crossed the 100,000 mark with 488 million shares, value at 8 billion naira, which exchange hands in 12,080 deals. The all-share index or market capitalization stands at 55.5 trillion naira. Well, that's it. Business Express returns Thursday at 9:30 a.m. I'm Musa Abubakar. Enjoy the rest of your day.